Welcome to a fresh hour of CBS Sports HQ. Jeremy St. Louis alongside Jacqueline DiAugustino. Happy to have you along. We're into the lull. The lull week. That week before the Super Bowl coverage really starts to go bananas.
Yes, the countdown to Super Bowl 57 in Arizona is officially on. On one side, we got the Chiefs. They're going back after a year hiatus. Yet the Bengals go in for a little stint there, not happening this year. And then on the other side, Philly, they're back for the first time since 2017 when they beat the Patriots. And there are so many storylines to follow, Jeremy. It's hard to keep up. There's so many interesting aspects. Of course, you got Andy Reid facing his former team that he coached for 14 years. You got Jalen Hurts versus Pat Mahomes, which is the youngest combined age between starting quarterbacks in Super Bowl history. But no matter what, Jeremy, there is going to be one person who's going to be a winner, and that is Donna Kelsey. She's got her two sons, Travis and Jason, playing against each other, so she's going to be a champ no matter what. Best of luck to her. And now it's time for Head-to-Head, presented by Marines, the constant amidst shifting threats. So looking at the Chiefs and the Eagles season side by side, number one seeds match up identically. It is kind of uncanny, both tallying a 16-3 record, that's including the playoffs, and then both teams also scoring to the number 546 points. Going to be a good matchup no matter what. And let's welcome in Pete Prisco to talk about all of the storylines as we're getting closer and closer to Super Bowl 57. And Pete, we got to start off with the coaching history. Andy Reid, he's now the fifth coach to face a former team in the Super Bowl. Then you had Eric Bieniemy, who was a player for the Eagles back in the 90s. When you have all of these different connections, Pete, how much more special does it make this matchup?
Oh, it definitely makes it special. I mean, Andy Reid, look, he was fired by that team. He's not happy about it, and I can guarantee you he can't wait to get going against his former team. But that was so long ago, and it's such a different team now in Philadelphia, different organization. So I think from that standpoint, Andy Reid will be amped. And look, Andy Reid is a great coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He's proven that over the years. There were questions about it a couple of years ago. You can erase those. He's done such a great job with the Chiefs. Now, it helps that you have a great quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, but Andy Reid is one heck of a coach, and he's going to Canton, win or lose this game.
Now, the Eagles have one of the greatest pass rushing units in NFL history. Pete, how do you think this Kansas City O-line matches up with them?
Yeah, it's going to be a real challenge. When you look at, the two tackles on the Chiefs, it's a good line, by the way. Orlando Brown's a good player at left tackle, not a great player, probably a little overrated. Andrew Wiley, I think, is the weak link of their offensive line, but he's not bad. But when you play a Philadelphia defense that had 70 sacks and four guys had double digits, that's a tough ask. Particularly if Patrick Mahomes can't move. But I think they'll be good enough to handle them up front. If they get behind, it's going to be a problem because those pass rushers are fast. And it's not just Hassan Reddick. I mean, Josh Sweat might be one of the most underrated players in this entire game on the other end. And then Brandon Graham comes in, and they can get pressure on the inside with Hargrave. So this is a good defensive front, but that offensive line is pretty good. But when Mahomes can't move, you got to protect him even more because that takes away some of the things he can do with his legs.
Yeah, and one of Mahomes' favorite targets is Travis Kelsey. I mean, in the AFC title game, the guy's like double covered, and he's still making these huge plays. How can the Eagles defense stop Travis Kelsey?
I don't think you're going to stop him. I don't think that's the ask because you can't stop him. There's no way. He's going to get 5 or 6 catches no matter what. What you have to try and do is limit the plays on third down and limit the big plays in the passing game. He's been outstanding. He's the best tight end in the NFL. He's on his way to the Hall of Fame. And I think, though, when you look at the Eagles' defense, and you look at the way they're constructed, they got a lot of chess pieces that can play and cover him. Kaiser White, one of their linebackers, is a former safety, so he can run. TJ Edwards is one of the most underrated players and has really showed up this season in coverage as another linebacker. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a guy who can play slot corner, but he can also play safety, and he'll probably play safety in this game. So the versatility is there to defend Travis Kelsey. I'm curious to see how they handle it. If it were me, I'd double him and dare everybody else to beat me.
Yeah, Travis Kelsey, 14 catches, 98 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That is the most catches by a tight end in playoff history. Okay, now we want to talk about the Eagles offense and then the Chiefs defense here. Kansas City picking off Joe Burrow and the Bengals twice in that last game. Eagles, meanwhile, 39 rushing touchdowns this season. That's the most for an NFL single season record. Pete, how do you think that's going to go head to head?
Well, I think when you look at Steve Spagnuolo, we know what he wants to do. He wants to be aggressive. That's what he does. He's always been that way. The problem is when you're aggressive, sometimes the Eagles are really good at getting you flowing and coming back the other way. So you got to be a little bit less aggressive, I think, than you normally would be. I will think that they will blitz him. They'll come after him. That's the one thing. At times, Jalen Hurts has struggled with the blitz. So come after him, which is what they will do, and then try and play coverage on the back end. But when you try and play coverage on the back end, you're going to give up some big plays here and there, even though that's okay with me. I'm coming after him. I'm going to attack the quarterback, and I think Steve Spagnuolo will do that as well.
And when talking about the Kansas City defense, Chris Jones, he's a guy you got to watch out for. He's an absolute game wrecker. We saw it, him sacking Joe Burrow. He had 2 sacks versus the Bengals. And then you got Frank Clark, the 3rd most playoff sacks all time at 13.5. How does this defense stack up against the Eagles' O-line?
Well, the Eagles have the best offensive line in the NFL, across the board, tackle to tackle. There's none better. They're big, they're physical. Every position has an above-average player, and a bunch of those positions, particularly right tackle Lane Johnson and center Jason Kelce, have 2 of the best at their position, if not the 2 best at their position. So if any team can match up with those guys, it's the Eagles' offensive line. But Chris Jones, like you said, is a game wrecker, and Frank Clark, for whatever reason, always shows up in the postseason. No matter what, he'll show up. He's going to get a sack at some point in this game. He's going to be working against Jordan Mailata probably most of the game on the left side. Mailata is a bruiser in the run game, not as good in pass protection. He's good, but he's just not as good as he is in the run game. So I would anticipate Clark getting at least 1 pressure. But remember, Jalen Hurts can move. It's hard to get him on the ground.
And Jalen Hurts, he's got a lot of wide receivers. Got a lot of options there. Got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. And then on the other hand, you have the Chiefs and their secondary. Pretty young, like 3 or 4 rookies that are out there. How do you think that's going to match up head-to-head? You have the Eagles wide receivers, some big playmakers there, and then you have some younger guys on the Kansas City secondary.
Yeah, and you talk about those wide receivers. A.J. Brown gets a ton of attention, no question about it, deservedly so. He's been phenomenal this year. Devontae Smith has had a great year, and a lot of people haven't even paid attention to it. They're hard to match up with in one-on-one situations, and we talked about it earlier. If you're going to blitz them, that means you're going to have one-on-one on the outside, and so those young secondary players are going to have to hold up. You have 2 rookies that start. Trent McDuffie plays in the nickel normally. If L'Jarius Sneed is healthy, and he went out of that game last week, and then Jalen Watson on the other corner. Now, they've held up. They both have had good seasons. They're good players. They've had a great draft. But I think when you talk about challenging those guys outside in one-on-one situations, that's going to be a real problem for the Chiefs if they do come after the quarterback.
All right, Pete Prisco joining us here on CBS Sports HQ, previewing Super Bowl 57 with the Chiefs and the Eagles. Thanks so much, Pete. We appreciate it. For more early and bold predictions for the Super Bowl, make sure you check out the Pick 6 podcast. You can download and listen wherever you get your podcasts. You can also scan that QR code.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.